I'm in Salad, and I saw WandaVision on Disney+. Episode 1 is directed by Matt Shakman, and it stars Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany. This episode starts. You get Wanda and Vision are newlywed, and they have this calendar, a heart on the calendar. What does it mean? They're trying to figure out what it means. Wanda goes to her neighbor. Her neighbor's like, oh, is it an anniversary? Before she guesses like a bunch of other things, and Wanda's like, yes. And then she's like, oh, let me help you with this anniversary stuff. So she does that. And Vision is at his work. And he's like, what does this mean? And there's just a lot of exposition dump, like, oh, he's like a literal computer. He's so fast. He's like Sonic. And he's like, oh, what does his heart mean? And then his boss comes in. He's like, oh, we got that dinner. By the way, my name is Mr. Hart. He's like, oh, that must be what that means. So he hits up Wanda. He's like, oh, I got this big old thing and my job depends on it. And Wanda's like, okay, cool, great. And they both hang up in like sitcom style. Like, oh yeah, we know what the other person's talking about. Because they're thinking about what I'm thinking in my noggin. And so they go home. By they, I mean Vision. Vision comes home with his boss. And Wanda's there in like this roby lingerie thing for the 60s at least, and covers his eyes. He's freaking out. And then Vision's like, what is going on? And it's a whole shenanigan where he has to explain that she's from Europe, and of course the boss man doesn't like that. And it's just super fun shenanigans. The neighbor provided Wanda with some food. Wanda's trying to cook dinner for this guest, but is failing spectacularly, and it's like trying to get the other wife from seeing Wanda using her magic to create these powers. To create this food, this great, delicious food. And eventually she just ends up cooking some breakfast for dinner. Also very European. The boss man doesn't like that. The boss man is just like, well, where are you from? Where are you from? I don't get it. Why are you here? Why are you together? Just keeps on asking questions. And then he starts choking. And the wife, she's like, please stop. Ha ha ha, please stop. Ha ha ha, please stop. It's just like, it's I'm watching it, and it's like, what is the wife doing? What is going on? No one else is doing anything. Everyone's just looking at each other. Vision's not doing anything. It's not until like Wanda is like, okay, Vision, help him. And then Vision is like reaches into his throat and grabs the piece of meatball that was stuck into his throat. And then, funny thing, the boss gives him a promotion. Everyone's like, oh, I love this so much. You all are great. And Wanda is like, oh, man, this sucked. I hated having to socialize. And then you get to see this cute little end scene. Vision and Wanda are talking like, well, what does the heart on the calendar mean? Well, it can mean whatever you want. It's going to be our anniversary. And then they create rings, and it's so cute. And then they end in a kiss, and that's how it ends. And it's pretty adorable. I like the sitcom nature of all of this, and I definitely would recommend this episode. It's great. I love the dresses and whatnot. They're wearing great costumes, and I gotta give this episode an 8 out of 10. Episode 2 is directed by Matt Shakman and stars Elizabeth Olsen and also Pat Bettany. So this episode starts, oh, something's tapping on the door. What's tapping on the door? You say, well, don't know. Vision's too scared to look at it. So Wanda has to look, and it's a tree. Okay, cool, tree time. Now we get to see them working on their magic trip. There's a big old magic trick fair play for the children. For the children is repeated a lot, by the way. And they're just having some magic time. Wanda wants to destroy the illusion. She walks into this box, the illusion box. You stick someone in, she steps in it, bam. steps out. So she plans to do this at the talent show. That's what it is, a talent show. She's talking to her gal pals, and they're like, oh, talent show stuff, haha, awesome, great. And of course Wanda's like, oh, I'm gonna talk to somebody else. And of course that the head lady of the talent show, the one who's like planning everything, gets angry and upset at Wanda and is like, I don't believe you intend no harm, which is a very ominous thing for her to say. And then the radio's like, oh boy, what is happening? There's Wanda, don't do it. Wanda, don't do it. And then the glass shatters and her hand's red. And then the housewife's like, oh, I gotta go. Bye. It's better if I just fix my blood myself. Also, Wanda sees some color. She's trying to figure out the source of this banging on the window. She sees this color toy. And it's like, oh, everything else is black and white? How interesting. So now we're at the talent show. And, well, I guess I should probably catch up on Vision. Vision is at a guy's meeting, talking about things and stuff. You know, adult men stuff. And he's offered gum. Oh yeah, I chew gum, nom nom nom. And then gets pat on the back. And then all this gum grind into his gears. And so whenever he goes to the magic play, he acts all drunk. And it's just like, he's all drunk, fumbling around. He's revealing his magic powers. Like, he floats, and then Wanda's like, oh, rope. Haha, got him. Revealed my tricks. And then he picks up piano. Boom, piano is gone. It's now like a two-sided thing. It's like a piece of cardboard, basically. And then, the most daring thing of all, puts his top hat through himself. And Wanda's like, oh, mirrors! And then the crowd's like, is that how mirrors work? And then the other person's like, shut up. It's like, oh, what is going on? Everyone just really loves Wanda here. How crazy. And then, you get they're trying to leave. After the show, Vision gets the piece of gum out of him. Thanks, Wanda, by the way. They try to leave, and then they're like, oh, you're super hilarious. Y'all are just hilarious. Y'all did real good. They go home, and then, what's crazy? Oh wow, Wanda's pregnant. And they have like this special little kiss moment. And then they go outside to investigate this noise, and there's a guy coming out of like a sewer gate, just pushing the thing open, and there's bees around him. And he's in a beekeeping costume. And it's like, what is this guy? Bees? Are we in a Nicolas Cage movie with all the bees? So, and then it rewinds. Wanda's like, no, rewinds. And then she gets her happy, lovely little ending where everything goes to color. And she's pregnant. She's about to have a baby. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think that was possible. Crazy. Anyway, I liked this episode. It's very endearing. It definitely, some of the dialogue was weird. It's like, oh, what is going on here? I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe some future shenanigery happens. So I gotta give this episode a solid 8.2 out of 10. Alright, episode 3. The same director and the same people are in this, so they're good on that. So, now Wanda is pregnant. What? How did this happen? Well, she's unexpectedly pregnant. Like, in 24 hours, she goes from like 4 months to 6 months. And you got the doctor comparing her stomach size to grapefruit and melons and honeydew. And then you got, she's even more pregnant. And during this whole entire process, the house that she currently inhabits is just, she's disastering electricity. The electricity is sparking, some water's running. She's just bubbling it up every time she has a contraction or a fake contraction or whatever. And it affects the neighbor's yard. And the neighbors are like, what's happening? Do these earrings make my body look fat? And then the power goes off. Oh, I don't know. Thank God I don't have to answer that. That's a funny haha moment. But you also got Vision is reassuring her, like, hey, you're good, you're perfect and strong. But there's like a point where during the middle of this, you get to see Vision. He's like, something's wrong. Something is really wrong, like actually wrong. And then you get to see the cut, and then it cuts again, and then it continues with the perfect line of dialogue. Like, it's just like a hard reset, and I like how that's cut. You also got, after that, you got the neighbor. She's snooping around. And she's like, oh, let me tell you about this story about this guy, right? And during this, you got this stork. This random live stork is just in the building, and Wanda's trying to shoot away. Trying to shoot it with some red powder. Doesn't go away. Orange. Nope, not there. Then you also got the chick. She's also just like, oh, I'm not noticing. I'm just so caught up in my story. But eventually the stork goes go away, and he goes to the room at the crib. She finds out she's pregnant when Wanda goes into labor, and it's quite nice. You got Wanda going into labor, and she's helping. The lady is helping Wanda. And it's pretty great. Everything's going out of control. Things are spinning. Things are flying around. Things vacuuming. You know, things like that. And also the lady is also like noticing all of this. She's like, oh, I'm just going to ignore it. You know? And then something happens. Something amazing happens. They have twins. Oh, beautiful twins. And then something else happens. So Vision goes outside. He notices the neighbors are chatting. What are they chatting about? Well, Vision goes over, he's like, what do you mean? What is going on? And man, the neighbors, especially the one guy, is like, we are actually, and it's like, it sounds like he's trying to like say something really important, but he can't like say it out. And Vision's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And then like the lady friend who's also there is like, nope, I'm going, bye. But not before she's like, we know what's going on. And trying to like gossip with Vision, but like she eats, so the other guy eats, Vision goes back inside, and she's like, Vision goes back inside to see that the lady friend is now gone. What happened? Well, the lady friend's like, just talking about new life, just talking about twins. Actually, no, it was Wanda herself. She's like, oh, I got some twins. And then Wanda's like, I'm a twin. My brother was this guy, and I forgot his name, but she's like, the lady friend's like, he died when Ultron just put that whole city on that place. You know, the Sokovia? Yeah, that's what happened, right? Much more succinct than that. But Wanda's like, well, what did you say? And then she's trying to back it up. It's a super tense moment. And it just keeps flipping between Vision and the neighbors talking, and this happening inside. And towards the end, it's just like Wanda keeps like approaching her. It's like, what did you say? What did you say? And it's like trying to get her to say it. And she's not budging. She's like, nope. Aha, I said something different. And she's like, you can tell in the smile. It's like, it's like forced. But it's still a smile, you know? And then like, what happens to her? Then we see her yeeted. She's been yeeted into a field, and in that field there are just like so many army men. You got a bunch of gun guys just pointing their guns at this guy, the thing that just fell from the sky, and it's like a whole army just encampment. It's a whole army encampment. And that's how it ends. And oh man, I'm so excited. What could possibly be happening right now? Just Wanda's losing control. And so it seems like the members are just like being less friend-like, or well, it seems like I don't really know what to expect right now. I'm not going to make any speculations, but needless to say, it's great. I gotta give this a solid 8.4 out of 10. Alright, episode 4. Directed by the same guy and has the same actors. Alright, starts off, you get to see what is going on outside of the town. You follow a girl, a woman specifically. She's been unblipified. She doesn't know what she is. Her mom died of cancer, and now she's like, I don't know what's going on. I gotta report to duty. So she goes to this town, right? It's called Westview. The cops don't know what it is. They're like, oh, it's Eastview. Hoo-hoo, Eastview. And then she's like, oh, okay. I see this little force field thing. I'm gonna touch it, and then boom, she gets zapped. And then you also get to see what's happening at this base, at this army base where all the people are at. Well, turns out they brought this woman, and also the Kat Dennings character is back from Thor. So she's here, she's at this base, she's figuring out all this stuff. Like, oh, these waves are off the chart, dude. Also, I need an old TV to pick up these signals, and what is Wanda doing with her inhabitants? So while they're watching this TV show, trying to figure out what's going on, they're identifying everyone. And also a really fun part, they're identifying everyone. They get to the episode where they're testing out this like radio trick, and it turns out it was the outside force all along. And Wanda's like reacting to it. Then the broadcast is like skips a little bit and then returns back to normal. These people are like, what is going on? This is weird. And then we get to see the other side of perspective of that time where that woman from last episode, when she got ejected, what happened? How did she get ejected? And you first get to see the sequence. It's like, oh, it's her, okay? And like, oh, it's happening. This is all skipped. But she actually got yeeted. She got pushed right out because she was like, you're not a friend. You're an outsider. Get out of here. And then boom, she gets pushed. And I just find it cute. Also, that's where the toy helicopter came from too. That's why it's colored, because it's from the outside world and not from Wanda's vision. And yeah, that's how the episode ends. Then you get to see everything from the outside perspective. And I liked that. I like seeing what is going on in the outside world, how is everyone reacting, because it's like a whole thing, right? And also, I like the outside, just tension, so much tension. Like, oh, it's all Wanda. That's what the episode ends up on. And I gotta give this episode a solid 8.5 out of 10. Alright, episode 5. Starts off, oh, the kids get a dog. Crazy dog. Where does it come from? We don't know. So the kids now have a dog. Kids are like 6 or 7. They're grown pretty old. And it's a nice sitcom, life. But then Vision goes to work. He's talking to some people. One of the guys, Vision's like, oh, I can just like unrelease you from the mind control. And he's telling him, oh, you have to stop her. She's making us do it. And Vision's like, what is going on? Whom? What is this? And then Monica, the lady that got yeeted last episode, is part of sword, and she's just trying to figure out what's going on. She's saying there's no political motive. The entire FBI is there trying to figure out what this motive is. And also you got Jimmy from Ant-Man's there too, so that's pretty neat. So anyway, they send this drone in. And Wanda notices the drone. She's looking up like, what is this drone? Ooh, right? And also, also another tragic thing, the dog dies. So the neighbor, Agnes, she's just holding this dog. It's like, hey, the dog just ate all my bushes, right? And now the kids have to deal with the fact that the dog's dead, and Wanda has to talk to them, and it's just like so sad. It's a very sad scene, and it's quite endearing to me as well. It's like she's just a mother, you know. So she goes back outside the force field with the missile drone thing. It's like, take it back. I believe this is yours, okay? And they're like, come on, we know you're not, like, malicious or anything, right? They're trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but she's like, this is what I want. Do not mess with me. And then she goes back. And it's like, oh, crazy. So she's just doing what she wants. That's not a good person at all. And then Vision is also confronting her at, like, the end of the credits. And it's great. It's honestly great. He's like, wait, hold on. None of this makes sense. I don't understand anything that happened before Westview. And I know you did something weird, Wanda. What is going on? And it's just Vision trying to confront Wanda. And then, guess who shows up at the door? Knock, knock, knock. It's a long lost brother. They recast Pedro. And I gotta give this episode a solid 8.7 out of 10. Episode 6. Well, I didn't have a Scarlet Witch costume, so I'm like the red, black, pink, gold witch costume. So that's what I'm doing. So the episode starts, it's a Malcolm in the Middle parody. You got the kids just talking to the camera, which I really like, just because I like Malcolm in the Middle. And so I'm ecstatic. It's Halloween, and they're going trick-or-treating. Vision's off doing Vision stuff, meaning he's on the neighborhood watch, trying to convince Wanda, let me just go, okay? So he goes, and then now it's the uncle, which is actually Pedro, the brother, as trick-or-treating with the kids. And Wanda encounters, she encounters the neighbor guy from a couple episodes ago that Vision was talking to. And he's like, oh, Vision's not on neighborhood watch. So she gets immediately sus. We also get a flashback, not a flashback, we get a cut to the outside world and what they are doing. So Vision's gone, he's off doing his own thing. But we also got Pedro, and he's helping the kids trick-or-treat. And it's quite nice. Pedro's like, Vision's dead. And you can't kill somebody who's already been dead once, right? Just like stuff like that. Just subtle like, this is your fault, okay? He's dead. You gotta accept your past. Kind of stuff like that. And Wanda's trying to deal with all of it. Her kids got powers, which is pretty cool. She's like, hey, don't go past Ellis Avenue. All right. Kids are like, oh yeah, cool, okay. So they run off. And then you also see Vision. He's right at Ellis Avenue. And he notices this car that's just sitting there. And it turns out it's Agnes. And Agnes is like, she's lost. And then Vision mind controls her. She's like, please help. And then she starts laughing maniacally to the point where Vision's like, okay, I'm gonna help you, but please stop. And then mind controls her again. And then he goes off into the barrier. He crosses the barrier. speaking of the barrier, the people on the outside, what's happening there, you got all these, the head honcho guy. He doesn't trust Jimmy, doesn't trust Monica, doesn't trust Monica's friend, and so he just kicks them all out. Yeet. But they go back and they're trying to find some new information on how to help this entire situation, because Monica's just like, I understand what Wanda's going through, I just want to be there for her. This is incredibly noble. But now we're back to the part where Vision's out of the force field. Everyone's kind of standing around the force field. Armored trucks everywhere. And also Jimmy, Monica's friends there. Monica's friends handcuffed to a Jeep. So, when Wanda hears that Vision is dying because he stepped over the edge of the force field, then she's like, I gotta expand it. So her eyes go all red, she expands it, consuming the entire, soldier fleet, and turns into, a carnival, and helps Vision not die. But Jimmy and Monica do escape, and they have to do some more research outside of that range, and then that's how it ends. Man, Wanda is just, more and more evil to me. It's just she's just trying to remain in control, and I don't see that as necessarily good, especially since she's controlling people's minds, not letting people leave. You're not allowed to go past the street. You're not even supposed to think about leaving. It's pretty much slavery. And so I gotta give this episode a solid 8.7 out of 10. Episode 7 starts. Wanda is alone in her bed. Vision isn't there. And she's talking to the camera. She's like, oh, well, I expanded the walls, and some anomalies are happening around me. Some things are starting to kind of warble in reality. The reality's starting to warble, and she's just losing her mind, it seems like. Her kids are like, are you okay, Mom? And she's like, I'm fine. And the kids ask her about what do you mean when Uncle said re-kill your dad? She's trying not to answer any of the questions that the kids are giving her. And then you also got Agnes. She takes the kids away, right? Well, so Wanda can be on her own, just kind of chilling, doing stuff. But what's happening with Vision, though? Vision wakes up in the middle of the field, surrounded by all these circus people, and Vision finds Monica's friend, Derby, and she gets unmind controlled with Vision's help, and she's like, okay, well, time to figure all this out. Let's go drive out of here. And then they get stuck at a crossroads. Just first of all, it's construction. Then there's kids crossing a road, a million kids. It's a lot of children. And Vision's like, all right, I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna go see my wife. And so he goes to do that. And it's quite endearing. It's just oh, what is going to happen? You got Monica. She wants to go back in. She tries to go back in through this space rover thing, and that ends up half of the space rover turns into a pickup truck because it's not good. She almost gets the energy field, changing her DNA. But she goes in. She goes in through the DNA. She goes in through the energy field, and you can see all this, cool visual stuff. It looks really neat. And it's, a bunch of different people just talking to her. And she's like, oh, I'm strong. I can make it through. She makes it through the force field, and she has, this cool vision. She's, some powers now. It's pretty neat. So she goes to confront Wanda. Wanda's like, you're not supposed to be here. And she's like, I'm trying to help you. These people want to make you look like the villain. She's like, maybe I'm the villain then. and like kind of yeets her down. She lands, and it's just like a whole tension scene. It's quite nice. But we also get Agnes, right? Agnes is now leading Wanda to her house. It's like, okay, cool, friendship moment, but then a nice plot twist that is incredibly unexpected. Agnes is a witch herself, and she's been pulling the strings. She killed the dog. Oh boy, how could someone like that oh man, I love it. I just love it. I love Agnes so much now. Just like, she's just, and her magical dungeon and the color of her magic is so great. I love it. I gotta give this episode for that a solid 8.5. Alrighty, episode 8. This is where it all goes down. Wanda is finally being confronted with what she's doing with this town by Agnes. Agnes is like, you can't use your magic here, so I'm gonna have you go through all these doors, going through your past, just so I can finally figure out how you're so impressive. Like, you can control an entire town, and they just do their own actions. And by the way, before I forget, Scarlet Witch, great costume, great design. Anyway, so we get to see her and her brother in Sokovia, and they're just like watching sitcoms, having a nice time, and then boom, a bomb happens, and then another bomb happens, but like it doesn't go off this time, and they're just kind of there. So yeah, you got trauma number 1. Then you got the whole like they're at the Avengers compound. Vision's there, she's talking to Vision. She's like, oh, I just like Vision, so much. It's just like a memory, a nice memory of them watching Malcolm in the Middle, and it's really wholesome. You also get to see Wanda at this like facility where you see the staff with like a stone in it, and it's honestly like, I just like seeing this whole breakdown of Wanda while she's doing all of this. And the only way in order to get Wanda on board is to have like her sons like in hostage. And Agnes is also, I should mention, a very powerful witch. She was on trial for breaking it, like this coven thing, and there's like a group of like witches all around her. They try to like kill her, but she actually ends up stealing all their energy, and then she kills everybody. And then, you know, she's very powerful. But now we see, okay, done with her experiments. Okay, we're done, and now we see Wanda has to face the choice. Because either confront or just like fall apart. Because this is like the point, just try to run away from your issues is why Wanda everything just keeps collapsing around her. And I honestly love it. And it ends with oh, Agnes versus Wanda, what's going to happen next? Man, I'm so psyched for this finale. Y'all don't even know. And I gotta give this an 8.9 out of 10. Alright, episode 9. We leave off with the two witches in battle with each other. So Agnes, she wants Wanda's powers, trying to convince her to give her powers so she can control, so she can give Wanda what she wants, which is she wants to just have this entire town to herself and have a family. And Agnes wants her power so she can go to the Darkhold. And so there's a lot of magical fighting going on. I love when Agnes is stealing Wanda's powers, and Wanda just has so much power that even though her hands like like decaying, she still has like enough for she can still like fly, she can still propel herself around. It's pretty neat. Also, Sword has their own vision, and the Vision is fighting with this version of Vision, and they're having a grand old time, kicking, phasing through each other, punching, missing because they're phasing through each other, stuff like that. It's pretty neat. You also get to see how everybody else is doing, how the FBI is doing their breakthrough. They're like, oh, okay, cool. This is weird. The shield is acting up. All they can do really is just like watch, because you got Wanda's. She's in agony, and Agnes is trying to be like, hey, release these people. Release the town. And what she does is she just releases the mind control that Wanda has instilled on them, and then they're in the middle of town. I like this shot. Middle of town, they're walking towards her, and they're like, please, I just want to touch my son. I just want to hug him. I haven't seen him. It's been so long. Please let us go. Please, you know, stuff like that. And she first is like, okay, fine. But then she retracts it, because she's like, no, my family's gonna be gone. But this allows enough time for the FBI to come in with their armored tanks and their cool amount of people. And they're finally in Westview. Finally. And also, I love magic battles. Especially this magic battle between Agnes and Wanda. Every time they fight, it looks cool. It looks great. The graphics look awesome. I love the colors in this. Also, you got Vision. He stops fighting with Sword Vision and is like, hey, I'm trying to cut you a deal, you know? But Sword Vision's like, I have a bunch of memory, but I don't have any memory. But Vision's like, let me touch you so I can gain that memory that you don't have active access to. So he does and gains all the memories. And it's like, so this Vision now is like, has all the memories. How crazy is that? What is he gonna do with this knowledge now? And then, man, it's just like a whole battle. Then we got Wanda and Agnes. It looks like Agnes is taking all of Wanda's abilities, but Wanda put like this spell, this casting simple protection spell that Agnes used against her like a couple episodes ago. And it returns back. And it returns for the finale. Now Agnes can't use her powers, and now she's stuck in Westview. Just completely stuck in her role. And it's agonizing. Man, it just sounds like a horrible way to be living. Just being mind controlled and being forced to do something you don't want to do, and you're actively conscious of it too. But even though Wanda is the bad guy, she is the Scarlet Witch who is supposed to bring lots of chaos to the universe and destroy worlds. She has so much magic power. And she's just using it to have a little town. And I honestly, it's like, well, she could be using it for worse purposes. But she just is like, all right, fine. I'm going to let the whole town out. I'm gonna do it, even if it means sacrificing everything that I love. So she does, and the scene where you got the force field is coming in, it's very dramatic, very touchy, lovey. They put the kids to bed. They're like, oh, we love you very much. Then Vision's like, I don't want to go, but I'll see you later. Adios. And then Wanda's alone. She's back in the plot where she was in New Jersey. She just went to like a random empty plot with no house. and created her town from there. And then she's just walking through the middle of town. All of the town people were looking at her. Obviously, because she mind controlled them for how many months or whatever. And she's just like, by she, I mean, Monica comes up and talks to Wanda. She's like, I know what you're going through. I don't hate you at all. Like, not so whatsoever. I still want to help you. Wanda's like, you still don't hate me? How? How could this be? What is this madness? Ah, man. And then Wanda's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna leave. It's time for me to leave. So she dons her awesome Scarlet Witch costume. And I mean awesome. It looks great. I love the cape. I love the little horn thing, crown thing going on. Oh, I love it. And man, she just flies off. And that's how the series ends. Man, I really like Wanda. Like, even though she's like the worst person ever, she's just something about it. It's like she's just so fun to watch. Like, I'm the type of person to really like bad guys. Like, my favorite character from like a video game is Bowser. He's a bad guy. And the Scarlet Witch, Wanda, she's like nuanced. And she has like her trauma of her own. And it like fleshes her out as like human. And that is incredibly feminist. And I gotta give this episode a score of 8.5 out of 10. And this overall score is this number, because I can't do math. Math is hard, especially with decimals. And if you'd like to see some more extended Mint Salad saws, plus some daily vlogs, go check out our Patreon at patreon.com/ASEPresents. $3 a month, not post, or at all, just $3 a month, you get a daily vlog, the Mint Salad Saw. $20 a month, request a movie review. So go check out patreon.com/ASEPresents. Till next time on Mint Salad Saw, I'll see y'all later, my salad croutons bacon bits.